Hello, welcome to this quick tutorial. Well, let's see if it's going to be quick. The purpose of it is to show you how to create a special split in Qualtrics survey flow in order to be able to accommodate the following. So in your brand exploratory project, you're going to have a number of questions for your focal brand. Let's call it brand X. And then you also need to benchmark those questions, or rather the answers to those questions, for several competitors. I'm suggesting to go with about 3 competitors. Let's call them A, B, and C. Now, if you think about that, each of these blocks represents multiple questions, let's say imagery and feelings, questions on performance, judgments, resonance, and loyalty. And so if it takes about 5 to, let's say, 10 minutes to answer, maybe it's a bit too much, but let's say 5 minutes to answer something about brand X, then it's becoming a very long survey if you're going to include all of the competitors. So my suggestion to introduce a special split where each of the respondents will answer the questions about brand X, and then they will be randomly inserted to answer questions about either A, B, or C, and then continue with the rest of the survey to completion. So we'll need to introduce some special split condition that will allow us to create this flow in the Qualtrics survey. And so this is what this tutorial is about. So I'm going to go to the Qualtrics split sample, or the split in Qualtrics example that I've created to just showcase what the split will look like. So the questions that I've inserted here, please don't take them as indicative of what should be inserted in the survey or how many. This is just to demonstrate to you how the split will work. First thing I need to tell you is that you should get into the habit of working with blocks in Qualtrics. I know it's very tempting to start adding questions, but then very quickly you become a slave to one block that's usually called default question block. So my suggestion is to work with multiple blocks, not just one, because of the flexibility that it allows. So I'm going to actually call this block a salience block. And here you will have multiple questions that are attempting to measure salience of the brand, or actually several brands. So the direct measure of aided awareness for any brand would be asking, how well do you know the following brand, or do you know the following brands? Okay, so we have the brand X, which is what we're studying. We have brand A. We have brand B and brand C. Okay, these are the 4 brands, and I'm going to remove this last guy from here. Okay, now this is aided awareness. Of course, you would want to have unaided awareness as well. So you will want to have questions around that. So I know that usually it has there's a little trick here as well. So the type of question you want for unaided awareness is a form field, okay, where you will ask consumers to please indicate which brands come to mind when thinking of category, cannot spell category, let's say XYZ, okay? And here you will ask them to do brand 1, to answer brand 1, brand 2, and brand 3, okay? And this will be the form that they will see. So there will be text fields that they will be filling out with the brands that they know, all right? You might want to ask them to actually fill it out by forcing the response. Okay, so they will actually have to fill out this. Maybe it's a good idea to add a break because the next one already reveals which brands you have. All right, so say you have this as part of the salience block. So the consumers indicate which brands come to their mind, on top of their mind, and then what are the brands and how well do they know. Presumably they will know your brand X and some of these brands. All right. So below, I suggest to actually create a proper block with all of the questions about imagery, feelings, performance, judgments, and resonance statements that you will want your consumers to answer about your brand X, as well as to benchmark it against the 3 competitors. All right. My suggestion is to actually completely finalize this block before creating the split and before proceeding with the survey, okay? Because then you are able to edit it very easily at the block level, okay? By the way, adding blocks is very easy as clicking on this blue thing above and below, depending on where you want to add the block, okay? So here I included some questions, let's say imagery, and I suggest that you kind of combine them. Imagery and feelings into the same block, performance and judgment into the same block, and resonance into another block, question. So that they are kind of clumping together and it's not too many pages. And insert individual page breaks between these questions. So they will appear one by one by one to each of the respondents, okay? Also a good idea to randomize these questions so that they appear in a random order to the respondent. So if you say here, by the way, all the functionalities of questions, blocks, etc., appear on this side of the page. So as I'm suggesting here, statement randomization, and you can just say randomly flip the order of choices. Okay. Save. And the same thing here. Statement randomly flip, or just say display answers in random order. Should be good enough. All right. And for this one as well. So statement randomization, display answers in random order. Okay. And we can see that they're randomized, and they're here randomized. So when the respondent arrives to block X about brand X, they will be seeing these questions in order, but then the statements within each question will be randomized. Fantastic. So we are ready to duplicate this block X for another brand, right? So let's see where we're going to copy, and we're going to call it block A or brand A. So you'll copy this, all right? You will copy the same thing and call it block B. And okay, and we will do the same thing for block C. Okay, very good. Now, the only thing you need to do is to make sure that in each of the questions of block A, block B, block C, you change the name of your brand here, okay? So, which is the only thing you will have to change before proceeding, so it makes it a lot easier to create your questions, right? Okay, so this is block A, brand A in block A, brand B in block B. Okay, and finally block C with the questions about brand C. Okay, I made this cursor especially purple for you so you can see where I'm clicking and where I'm pointing. Very well. Okay, you may have other questions. Let's say you will want to present some stimuli with a heat map or something along those lines. So I will call this block other questions. Okay, other questions, but they're not going to be pertinent to our or maybe they will be, to our split that we're about to introduce. So I'm going to introduce something like a multiple choice, and this is going to be other question. Okay, very well. So I'm going to collapse them back again, and and we're going to speak about what we're going to do here. So here we want to add a very special block that is going to have the actual split. Here, the most convenient way of introducing it, and I will call it actually split. I'm going to add a text statement. Okay, it's going to be just a sentence that will appear to the respondent. Let me see. It's going to be something like, well, actually, let's call it for now brand X. To make sure that the brand X is being included, I'm going to add another one that I will call brand A. I'm going to add another one that will be called brand B, and I'm going to add another one that's called brand C. Before launching the survey, we will change them into statements, okay? But for now, it's very convenient for us to see them as these statements, all right? So nothing to be asked, no adding of the page breaks. We want them to appear on the same page when the consumers see it. So now we want to actually introduce the very special question randomization. We're going to click here on this right side on block behavior, and we're going to create what we call advanced randomization. Okay, let's see. Why is it not working for me? Yes, okay, advanced randomization. We will always want brand A to be shown, or rather brand X of interest to be shown to the consumer. So I'm going to keep it in this order. It's going to be a fixed display order. So when consumers arrive to this block, they will see brand X statement, and then brand A, B, and C, I'm going to move into this random subset, okay, where I will say that from these three, please include one question from this list, all right? And what it will do, it will essentially include A, B, or C, following right away brand X, all right? And here I'm saying, please evenly display questions, which means that it will force A, B, C to appear equal amount of times as your respondents arrive to your question. Very well. You can always see what the current count is, and because the questionnaire has not been even tested or hasn't been used a single time, the count for B, C, A, B, and C is 0 at this moment. You can always reset. You can actually edit it to, let's say, if I say 10 times here or 10 counts here, then the next 10 respondents will be forced to see brand A. But for now, I'm going to reset all counts and save it like that. Very well. So I'm saving this, and I'm saving it here. So in principle now, what will be happening every time we go through the survey, or respondent goes through the survey, they will always see brand X as a statement. They will always, and then they will see either A, B, or C. Okay. Now there is one more thing that I want to build into the survey. I want to make sure that consumers only are served, let's put it this way, brands that they know fairly well. Let's say if they've answered this question, please indicate how well do you know the following brands. A, if they said at least 20 or more, we're going to serve it, or 10, pick your cutoff level. You don't want respondents to respond about brand A, B, or C, or actually your focal brand as well, if they don't know it very well. So they're going to be making statements up, or rather they're going to be making up their agreement or disagreement to these statements based on what they don't actually know, right? So so right now it's going to be always shown regardless of this level of knowledge. But I want to introduce the level of knowledge with a cutoff. So I'm going to click on this statement, and I'm going to say here on the question behavior, the display logic should be as follows. If the previous question, how well do you know the following brands, brand A is equal or greater, let's see, is greater or equal to, let's say, 20, and save it. So it will only be displayed if in the previous page, on the previous block, the consumer said 20 or more. Very well. We're going to do the same thing for brand B. We will introduce display logic. We will say that the question, please indicate, and the measure for B was greater or equal to 20. I'm going to save it. And the same thing for display logic for C. If the questions, please indicate, how well do you know, for option, let's wait for it, for option C is greater or equal to 20. Okay, save. For your focal brand, you might want to do the same thing. All right, so I will say probably a little bit lower bar, brand X, oops. Please indicate how well do you know the brand. Brand X is greater or equal to, let's say, 5. Right, so if they just sort of heard about it. Or maybe you use the same cutoff level, you decide. Okay, so now this is actually serving these. This will always be seen, if you remember. This is going to be 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 of the respondents will see it, but with these extra conditions for displaying. All right, I'm going to close this. This split, and I'm going to show it to you how it's working now. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to preview the questionnaire and see if everything works well. Okay, which brands do you know? Well, I don't know. I know brand D, I know brand F, and I know brand G. Okay, now how well do you know the following brands? Brand X, 20. Brand A is going to be 33. I'm going to say that I know brand B. Actually, let me make brand A 5, brand B 18, and brand C as 30. Okay? All right, so now I see only two statements, brand X and brand C, because I didn't know brand B or brand A. So it's working. But now I'm going to see all the blocks for brand X, or rather all the questions for brand X. I'm going to see, and this is my, and you can see that the randomization works because resonance statements 3, 2, 2, 1, I'm answering. And then I see brand A. I don't want to see brand A, right? I only want to see brand C. So I'm going to close the preview, and I'm going to add the second part of the split that needs to happen, which is the entire block A, or rather the entire block C, should only appear if in split block X has been shown as a statement. The same needs to happen for block A. A should only be displayed to me, and only A should be displayed to me, if this statement had been shown to the consumers. Same thing for block C and for block B. In other words, once these has been shown, brand X and brand C, for example, I only want to see, as a consumer, block X and block C, and not A and B, right? So we need to make sure we can do it at the question level, here, going through each question and say display logic only if A had been shown, etc. But that's not necessary. There is another way we can do it at the entire block level. And that way is to do it through this left side. It's called survey flow, okay? When you click on survey flow, you will see all of our blocks neatly lined up here. So we have the split, we have the X, we have A, B, C, and the same conditions work here as well. For this to work, I'm going to introduce an element that will be called a branch, okay? So this branch will be not triggered unless it meets a certain condition. And for that condition to be effective, I'm going to select one question from the block split that is, so it's the split is based on a question. Which question? Well, one of these four statements, so statement X is what I want, and statement X needs to be displayed, is displayed. So if brand X statement from split block has been displayed, I want for this block X to be shown. Okay, that's what I want to happen. I'm going to do the same thing, create a branch that will be triggered only when brand A, the statement brand A, is displayed. And I'm going to move this block here. Okay, I'm going to add another element and make sure that this is not creating a nested effect, that it's on this external line. I'm going to do the same thing for brand B, statement B is displayed, and I'm going to move this block B into this branch. Okay, very well. And one more, I'm going to create a branch that has a condition with brand C is displayed, and I will move my block C with all its questions here. Okay, and to make it nice, you probably want to move other questions and everything else that you have after this actually here. All right, and now we have salience block split, and then brand X displayed, brand A displayed if, brand B displayed if, and brand C displayed if. Okay, we want to apply, and we're going to see what it looks like in the actual survey. Now, in the actual survey, it will not change the order of the question of the blocks, so they will appear the same way, as you have created them up until now. Very well. So I think we're ready to test our survey. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go to split. I'm going to split, and I'm going to see question randomization. Just to make sure, I'm going to see edit count, and we've already seen once brand C, so I'm going to delete it and make it 0 here. I'm going to save it. Okay. Save. Okay, let's see if it works well. Preview. Okay, what do we want? We want R, D, and let's X will also know. How well do you know X, A, B, and C? I'm going to say that I know brand X, that I don't know very well brand A, I know brand B, and I know brand C. Okay. So it's serving me B, one of the brands that I know. This statement now has been shown to me. So this should allow us to exercise the display logic at the block level later on. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, we're getting brand X. I'm going to answer questions about brand X. More questions about brand X. You might want to play around with the look and feel of the survey, so it's not these big ginormous statements. There's another template. And now we're seeing brand B, right? So brand B is exactly what we want to see. We skipped brand A. We should also skip brand C, because we're not. It's not the one that is being served to us. Okay, I'm answering about brand B. And now we have the other question for the remainder of the survey. Very well, it's working. Okay, So it will continue doing so, and it should be working fine to be serving you A, B, and C. But now let's just make sure that this is a strange statement to have, right? Brand X, brand A, brand B, brand C. So I suggest to insert some sort of a statement of this type. Let's say we're going to insert for brand A statement. On the next pages, we will ask you about a couple of brands. Please answer them based on everything you have heard, read, or seen, and what you know yourself about each brand. All right? We do the same statement here. We do the same statement here. It's okay that they're exactly the same wording because Qualtrics doesn't even know what you're putting here. It just knows that it's a question 17 with with some content. And for brand X, it should be some sort of a statement that will work nicely with these with one of these statements. We would like something great. How about that? You can put your personality here if you wish. Very well. Maybe great. Let's continue. Okay. So this is your split. This is your blocks and the rest. So let's preview it one more time. Remember, we've already been shown B. So I'm going to preview the questionnaire once more and make sure that what we're getting is what we need to get. So let's say R, T, and S, some letters there. How well do you know brand X? Brand A, I'm still going not to know. I'm going to, let's actually say that we know brand. We don't know B, and we know C. Okay. So now here you cannot tell what you're seeing, which of these statements you're being shown, right? Because we changed them into the same sentence. All you know that the X is continuing to be here, and then B or C is continuing. So the only way to find out when you're actually testing it, unless you keep it for a while as A, B, and C, we're going to only find out here and see which one is the one that has been selected for us. So it's been C. Okay, I'm going to answer about C. All right, I'm going to quit here, and I'm going to repeat it again, and I'm assuming it's going to be, well, it's enough with the previewing. And by the way, you can check in the flow that your condition has changed now from B, C, and D to the actual statements that are being served from a specific question. So the question is now 17, and you're selecting the same statement from that question 17. So I'm going to apply, and it is done. You're ready to finalize your survey and do whatever else you need to do with it. Okay, I hope this helps. You should be able to collect as many consumers from your sample as those who know brand X, and then one third will be served from each of these. Before you launch your survey, don't forget to go to the split condition, go to question randomization, and in the setup of randomization, edit the count. And here you will see what we were able to already display. So reset them to zeros. We've seen B, we've seen C. You want to reset it before you launch the survey and start collecting the data. Okay. Okay, very good. Good luck and have fun.